Now that we looked at how to do hypothesis testing in R, let's take a look at how to do chi-square analysis. So remember that in an earlier video, we brought in some GSS data in SPSS format into R, and we made it a data frame called dataset. I'm going to bring in that data frame here, and let's look at the namespace of the data frame to see what variables are available with it. Okay, so if we look at our output window, notice that both health and happiness are found in this data set. These are the two variables that I'm going to focus on in this example. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the data set so I don't have to specify the full name of the data set when I'm referring to these variables. And later in the video, I'm going to detach the data set just to do some house cleaning, just so I can return R back to its normal state. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first bring in the car library. Remember, we installed that in one of the earlier videos. And that's going to help us use the recode command to recode the values of health and happiness to get rid of the missing values. And again, this is just a repeat of something we've already done in the bivariate analysis video. But basically, I just used the recode command with the old variables. I've taken all of the values for non-applicable, don't know, and no answer, and I've coded them to missing for both the variables happy and health respectively. And they follow a very similar format, right? So the old variable gets recoded, the missing values get coded as system missing in R, and then I'm going to identify a new variable for each respective case using the lowercase version, so I'm just not overwriting anything. Just to make sure that my recode is done correctly, after running it, I'm also going to look at the table command. If we go to our output window, we can see that basically I have 4 different values for health, 3 different values for happiness, although they're lacking value labels, so I'm going to have to add those in. And so if I go back to my script, notice that here I'm declaring each of these variables an ordered variable. And so I'm going to use the ordered function to assign value labels to the values of both health and happiness. And so for health, it has 4 different values, 1, 2, 3, and 4, which I'm going to pass as an argument in the form of a vector into the levels option. And I'm going to assign for each of these different levels the following value labels with the labels option. I'm going to assign the values excellent for 1, good for 2, fair for 3, and poor for 4. And then for happiness, it's got 3 levels, which I'm going to assign the values of very happy for 1, pretty happy for 2, not too happy for 3. And all of these are passed as vectors into the 2 options, levels, and labels, respectively. And for each of these, I'm going to make a new object. This is the object that's going to be within the dataset's data frame because of the attach command that I ran. And I'm going to make one object called health, which is just going to overwrite the existing value of health that I recoded. Another one's going to be called happy, which is going to overwrite the existing value of happy that I just recoded here. And then I'm ready to basically use these values in chi-square analysis. So I run that, and the chi-square statistic I can calculate from something that R has as part of its native R package. It's the function chi-square.test, right? So chi-sq.test is the command, and then x is going to be the value of the data that I'm going to pass into it, and I actually have to make this a table. And so I'm going to make a table of happy by health, and I'm going to pass that into my chi-test statistic, and then if I look at my output window, we can see that we have the following results. So we have a chi-square value of 129.27 with 6 degrees of freedom, and that has a p-value of 2.2 times 10 to the negative 16. So this is a very small p-value. At a conventional 0.05 level, that indicates that this is a statistically significant result. And so that means that our 2 variables, happy and health, are associated with one another in the population. It's not just a relationship that holds in this sample. And so there's a statistically significant relationship between these 2 things that holds in the larger population. Okay, so now that I've conducted my test, I can detach the data set. From now on, I'm going to have to refer to each of these variables by first referring to the name of the data set in which they're found. But that's just a nice house cleaning technique, and it'll help me from making any further mistakes later down the road. And so in a nutshell, that's how you do chi-square analysis using R.